Hi friends, welcome to lesson 24, Models of Social Development. Development is a very complex process and it has several dimensions which are related and interdependently on each other. There are several models of development with focus of each model being different. After completion of this lesson, you will be able to understand the various models of development like capitalist, socialist, mixed and Gandhian models of development. Now, let us begin our discussion about the models of development. The concept of development has been regularly undergoing changes and evolving. Initially, the Western model of liberty, economic growth and modernization was adopted by several states. Then some states came forward to adopt the socialist model of development. Some others like India decided to adopt a mixed liberal democratic socialist model. However, in past few decades, there is a strong advocacy for sustainable development model. Let us briefly discuss some of the popular models of development. Capitalist model of development. The capitalist model of development is characterized by the provision of private ownership of property and means of production, minimum state control on economic enterprises and a free economy regulated by competition. The capitalist model of development became a dominant model of development with the growth and success of the industrialized nations of the West. Simply speaking, a capitalist model of development is characterized by free markets and the absence of government intervention in the economy. It is a social system based on the principle of individual rights. It is based on the principles of laissez-faire, which advocates for letting the individuals free. Fundamentally, the capitalist model of development rests upon the ideological tenets of capitalism and thus privatization, profit motive are its guiding principles. The idea of capitalism got extensive treatment in the intellectual writings of several philosophers like Adam Smith, Max Weber and Karl Marx. One of the earliest and most articulate exponents of this economic system was Adam Smith, a Scottish economist and moral philosopher. Max Weber defined capitalism as an economic activity aligned towards a market and defined capitalists as those profiting from market exchanges and agreements. Karl Marx, the German philosopher and radical economist, suggested that capital and mode of production were interchangeable terms. Another characteristic of capitalism according to Karl Marx is its exploitation of the surplus value of labor. In Marxian analysis, class is an important component and is defined in terms of those who own the mode of production and those who do not own it. Let us try to understand about different types of capitalist model of development. The form of capitalism has been undergoing change and thus the models of capitalism have also evolved. These models are the agrarian capitalist model, the mercantile capitalist model, the industrial capitalist model and the post-globalization neoliberal model. Let us now understand about the agrarian capitalist model. This model of development had its origin in 16th century England. It was established with the emergence of large estate system in England with the concentration of large acres of lands with few landlords. Under this system, workers were increasingly being employed as part of a broader and expanding money economy. The system put pressure on both the landlords and the tenants to increase the productivity of the agriculture to make profit. With regard to mercantile capitalist model of development, this model of capitalist development took place between 16th to 18th centuries. The age of discovery, geographic explorations and discovery of sea routes contributed significantly to the development of this type of capitalist model. Mercantilism was a system of trade for profit, although commodities were still largely produced by non-capitalist production methods. This type of capitalist model is often said to be the founder of modern capitalist model of development and laid the foundation of colonialism. The industrial capitalist model. During the Industrial Revolution, the industrialists replaced the merchants as the dominant and deciding group in the capitalist system. It affected the decline of the traditional handicraft skills of artisans and guilds. During this period, the surplus generated by the rise of commercial agriculture encouraged increased mechanization of agriculture. Industrial capitalism marked the development of the factory system of manufacturing. This is characterized by a complex division of labor between and within work process and the routine of the work tasks. This has established the global domination of the capitalist mode of production. During this system of capitalist development, there was mass scale machine based production. Market was becoming expanded and diversified. When we talk about the post globalization neoliberal model, the post globalization period stressed on a neoliberal economy and private ownership started gaining momentum. Due to the opening of the borders, deregulations, market was getting expanded. This brought new zeal to produce better quality and higher quantity of products and to diversify production. But this led to the development of a temperament to maximize profit and capital accumulation was triggered. This established the post-globalization capitalist model. This became on a vote aim of both the socialist as well as the capitalist countries. The model was also emulated by the third world economies while shaping their course of development. What are the important features of capitalist model of development? Let us understand that. The capitalist model of development has got its typical features which can be discussed through these dimensions. Existence of private property, large scale production, significance to profit motive. Competition is one of the inevitable principles of a capitalist model of development. Under the capitalist model of development, price of products are in a fluctuating situation. Demand and supply positions in the market determine the price. Apart from these features, in capitalist model of development, the wage distribution is not equal. Wages are determined on the basis of the skill and productive capacity of the workers. In the capitalist model of development, the institution of credit plays an important role. The capitalist producers get money on loan and develop their business. Capitalist model of development is marked by vast business structures. The role of the state is very limited under the capitalist model of development. The business organizations become the development designers and drivers. The capitalist economy is a liberalized or market economy. Under the capitalist model of development, there is no governmental control over the forces of production, distribution and exchange. It is controlled by the forces operating in the market. There is no price control or regulated distribution by the government. The economy operates freely under the law of demand and supply. Now, let us try to understand the socialist model of development. The socialist model is based in socialism. The word socialism finds its roots in the Latin word sociare, which means to combine or to share. Modern socialism originated in the 18th century, and the revival of republicanism in American Revolution in 1776 and the egalitarian values introduced by the French Revolution of 1789 became the founding values of socialism as an ideology. Republicanism is the ideology of governing a nation as a republic with an emphasis on liberty and the civic virtue practiced by citizens. More broadly, it refers to a political system that protects liberty, especially by incorporating a rule of law that cannot be arbitrarily ignored by the government. In the early 19th century, socialism gained currency as a practicing ideology to curb the evils of capitalism. However, by the late 19th century, socialism got its root as a contrast to the capitalist system of development and production. It advocated for some form of social ownership. During this time, German philosopher Karl Marx and his collaborator Friedrich Engels published works on socialist trends and ideologies. To these philosophers, socialism would appear as a phase of development. It will be established through a revolution by the people against the conflicting class interest and exploiting relationship. When we discuss about the features of socialist model of development, it has its own typical features which can be stated through these dimensions. The socialist model of development opposes ownership of private property. Under socialist model of development, the economy is well planned. Planning may be centralized or decentralized. The socialist model of development aims to maximize the welfare of the people. It focuses on equal rights of all individuals and equal opportunity for all members. Social welfare becomes the basis of all economic decisions and economic policies. A socialist model of development is people-centric in nature. Therefore, price regulation remains in the hands of the state to benefit all. The socialist model of development rests on the ideology of people's participation through cooperation rather than cutthroat competition. Prices are determined by government because productive enterprises are monopolized by the state. Government avoids all sorts of rivalries and competition among state enterprises. Thus, there is absence of any kind of negative competition in a socialist model of development. The socialist model of development thus promotes partnership, collaborations rather than negative competition. The socialist model of development tries to break the division between haves and have-nots or between masters and servants. It does not create a group of producers and a group of consumers. Under a socialist model of development design, the state guarantees equality of opportunities and equal pay for equal work. During the 20th century, many countries like Soviet Russia, Poland, Yugoslavia, Austria, Cuba, Hungary, China and Vietnam opted for a socialist model of development. With the rise of global capitalism and process of globalization, the socialist model of development is in phase of transition. Let us now understand about the mixed economy model of development. The term mixed economy means prevalence of public, private and joint sectors side by side in a system. In such a model of development, the state participates as an active partner with private enterprise in the process of economic development. Then we can say that under a mixed economy model of development, the entire economic system in a country is split up into three parts. Firstly, sectors in which both production and distribution are entirely managed and controlled by the state to complete exclusion of private enterprise. Secondly, the sectors in which the state and private enterprise jointly participate in production as well as distribution. And thirdly, the sectors which are in exclusive and complete control of private enterprise. These sectors are subject to general control and regulation of the state. The significant features of mixed economy model of development are large public sector. Presence of a large public sector along with private sector makes the character of the economy mixed. In socialist countries, public sector plays a major role in almost all the sectors of the economy. Another feature is planned economy and government control. Periodical plans are made by the government to reach the set destination and uphold social welfare. The private sector is regulated and controlled by the government. Another feature is private property and economic equality. There is strong presence of private sector with profit motive. Nevertheless, the government through a well-planned mix of laws, taxes and welfare programs ensures fair distribution of income and wealth. Price mechanism and regulated economy. While the prices of some essential commodities such as domestic fuel, railway fares, postal charges, etc. are in the hands of the public sector, the price mechanism also exists. Profit motive and social welfare. Mixed economy presents combination of capitalist and socialist economies leading to dual objectives of profits and social welfare. Private ownership of means of production and profit-induced commodity production. In many mixed economies as well as in India, at present a large segment of the industrial sector is in private hands. There is a decisive role of the market mechanism. Market mechanism has a crucial role to play in Indian economy. the prices of most of the commodities and factors of production are determined by the interplay of demand and supply forces. Mixed economy has a joint sector. A joint sector provides a very important avenue for balanced industrial development. It complements growth in the public and private sectors. It is a tool for social control over industry without resorting to complete nationalization. It is needed for an equitable and egalitarian economic growth in the country. In a mixed economy, government uses various instruments to bring about planned development such as industrial licensing, land reforms, development of service sector, subsidies and other measures like capital issue control, labor legislation, price regulations and foreign collaboration approval system. Industrial licensing. Licensing facilitates prevention of concentration of economic power in the form of ownership of industries. Industries Development and Regulation Act 1981 and Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1969 are crucial legislative frameworks. Land reforms. The objective of land reform is to bring about institutional changes to make property relations favorable to the tillers of the soil. It aims to remove all elements of exploitation, social injustice within the agrarian system. Development of service sector. In the tertiary sector, the mixed economy system has sought to explain the role of the state in provision of various services. For this purpose, a number of nationalization measures were initiated, beginning with the nationalization of Imperial Bank of India to set up the State Bank of India in 1955. Subsidies. Subsidies have become an important part of India's economic system. It is a part of non-planned expenditure of the government. Major subsidies in India are petroleum subsidy, fertilizers, food subsidy, interest subsidy, etc. The other mechanisms which is part of mixed economy are: government also tries to regulate the private sector through capital issues control. It means that corporate sector is required to obtain government's permission for the issue of any capital, equity, debenture, bond. Foreign collaboration approval system. It means that any project envisaging foreign collaboration has to secure prior permission of the government. Through price regulations also, government regulates the private sector. For many commodities, pricing of goods and services is under government control. Government is involved in fixation of maximum prices for commodities. Gandhian model of development. Friends, we have also discussed about this in our previous lesson. Gandhian model is totally different from Western materialistic model of development. It gives place of primacy to moral development and ethical view of socio-economic political development. Truth and non-violence are advocated as the basis of all human activities and decisions. It stands for complete decentralization of functions and powers, with each village acting as a self-regulating and self-sufficient unit of development. There are strong reservations about mechanization and industrialization. Machines deprive human beings of employment, and industrialization generates consumerism and profiteering. Industrialization must be based upon the use of manpower, and its aim should be to meet the primary basic needs of all the people. There is emphasis upon cottage industries, handicrafts, agriculture and labor. Gandhian model is based upon social equality, non-violence, truthful living, social responsibilities, dignity of labor, moral and spiritual happiness. Development has to be measured on the scale of happiness and not consumerism and profit making according to this model. All development must ensure environmental health and happiness. Gandhian view of a developed state is a peaceful, happy, non-violent state based on morality and respect for the equal dignity, worth and needs of all the people of society. The critics of this model hold it to be an idealist model which cannot be really used. However, the supporters of the presently popular model of sustainable development appreciate the value of Gandhian model of development. Gandhiji's modes of development are particularly humanitarian in nature, and for him no economic model is worth implementation unless it aims towards the general well-being of mankind. The Gandhian model of development revolves around ideas of nationalism, protectionism, humanism, socialism and securing social harmony by removing social inequalities. To be more specific, the Gandhian model of development had two priorities which distinguished it from other models of development. These two priorities were the development of self of the individuals in the place of material prosperity and development of villages by strengthening the cottage industries and rural technology. Gandhiji placed importance on the means of achieving the aim of development, and this means must be non-violent, ethical and truthful in all economic spheres. In order to achieve this means, he advocated trusteeship, decentralization of economic activities, labor intensive technology and priority to weaker sections. One of the greatest challenges for Gandhiji's vision of development was to ingrain in the mind of every Indian his ideals of economic self-sufficiency. Gandhiji understood that the very backbone of India was its villages. Unless the village economy could be reformed, nothing could be achieved on the economic front. The charkha or the spinning wheel and the khadi or the homespun coarse cloth became the very symbol of nationalism and a sign for the support for national economy. Gandhiji made it compulsory for all satyagrahis to use khadi clothes. All forms of rural handicrafts achieved great encouragement from Gandhiji. By championing homespun khadi clothing and Indian made goods, Gandhiji sought to incorporate peaceful civil resistance as a means of promoting national self-sufficiency. Gandhiji's concept of egalitarianism was centered on the preservation of human dignity rather than material development. Some of Gandhiji's closest supporters and admirers included industrialists such as Ghanshyam Das Birla, Ambalal Sarabhai, Jamnalal Bajaj and J.R.D. Tata, who adopted several of Gandhiji's progressive ideas in managing labor relations while also personally participating in Gandhiji's ashrams and socio-political work. Training centers or ashramas for development, Gandhiji visualized national development is possible when the personalities of the people are well developed in character. To give personality development training to the people of the country, Gandhiji and his followers also founded numerous ashramas in India. Gandhiji often commented that if mankind was to progress and to realize the ideals of equality and brotherhood, it must act on the principle of paying the highest attention to prime needs of the weakest sections of population. Thus, social justice and equality are pillars of development. Gandhiji advanced a theory of trusteeship as an organizational structure under which production could be organized instead of large industrial houses where economic power was concentrated in the hands of a few and were inherently exploitative. Gandhiji declared himself to be a socialist and repudiated the concept of private ownership of property. Gandhiji and Vinoba Bhave were involved in Sarvodaya movement, which sought to promote self-sufficiency amidst India's rural population by encouraging land distribution, socio-economic reforms and promoting cottage industries. The movement sought to combat the problems of class conflict, unemployment and poverty while attempting to preserve the lifestyle and values of rural Indians, which were eroding with industrialization and modernization. Sarvodaya also included Bhudan or gifting of land and agricultural resources by the landlords called zamindars to their tenant farmers in a bid to end the medieval system of zamindari. To sum up, my dear friends, in this lesson we have discussed different models of development with focus on different perspectives. The need of the hour is to have such a model of development where there is beautiful balance of economic growth, social development with sustainability. Parallelly, it should even ensure that the most marginalized communities also become partners in the process of development. Thank you.